and gentlemen.
Login accepted.
The IT Professionals Forum, Coding the Nation's Future. Your Excellency, there is a very special guest in the audience. He's not human. He is an AI robo. In fact, he's here to greet you with this very special message. And before he starts moving closer to you and greets you, I would like to tell the cameramen and also the videographers just to make sure that you keep a distance of at least 2 meters from this special guest, because if you get closer more than 2 meters, he will sense that there is an obstacle and he will pause. So you need to make sure that you're clear from him at least 2 meters. So we want all of you to focus your attention to this little man over here. He's an AI robo named Pepper. Okay, so I'm also going to move a little away, like let's say 2 meters away, and we are now going to see Pepper moving towards His Excellency the President, our chief guest. So let's see how he starts moving.
Good evening, Your Excellency. I'm Pepper, a conversational AI robot for coding education. It's a pleasure meeting you today. Welcome to the IT Professionals Forum, Coding the Nation's Future.
Let's put our hands together for Pepper. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pepper. So Pepper will make his way to where he was. Just making sure that we keep a clear distance from Pepper. We can afford to give Pepper another big round of applause. Come on, everybody. So that was a very special greeting to our chief guest, the Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, and that was by a very special guest, AI robo Pepper. So this definitely matches our program because we have IT professionals, and this is the IT Professionals Forum, and we are here to think about and strategize about coding the nation's future. We will now have official words of welcome delivered to our distinguished guests in the audience, and for that we're going to invite a politician. Not only is he a politician, he is an aerospace engineer and also a private pilot license holder. He's in fact currently reading for his PhD at the University of Moratuwa. He already holds a Bachelor of Engineering degree from RMIT, Australia, and also an MSc in Tech Aviation from the University of New South Wales. Currently serving as the State Minister of Technology. Let's put our hands together and welcome the Honorable Kanaka Herath.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, the President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Honorable Dr. Sita Arambepola, Honorable Duminda Disanayaka, Dr. Siddharthan Raja from the World Bank, members from SLASCOM, FITIS, PCS, and Computer society, esteemed professionals, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome you, Your Excellency, the President Ranil Wickremesinghe, and all the invitees here today. It's wonderful to be among you all once again. Over the past 2 years, I have had the privilege of working closely with many of you, and I'm pleased to be here at this crucial moment. Firstly, I'd like to highlight the remarkable economic resurgence of our country. Just 2 years ago, we are in a dire strait. Today, the story is different. This turnaround is direct result of the bold decisions and steady leadership of His Excellency the President Ranil Wickremesinghe. I'm sure everyone here involved in this space can attest to this progress. We've developed a robust 7-year strategy to build a $15 billion digital economy by 2030. This is a long-term action plan done in collaboration with the industry experts and the World Bank, something we've not been able to do before. But we are not stopping there. We've taken the next step by introducing the Technology Promotion Act, aligned with the President's vision for Digital First Sri Lanka. At present, this is with the Attorney General, and upon clearance, we will present this to Parliament and make this the law of our country. We will also establish the Technology and Innovation Council, which will oversee the Digital Transformation Agency and giving directions, guidance to the research and development centers in the country, unifying the technology and innovation spectrum under the Ministry of Technology. With all the other legislative development we've done thus far, this will be the final act that we need to make the Digital First Sri Lanka a reality. However, the government alone can't drive this vision. We need the continued support of the industry. This government has always worked hand in hand with you, and I trust that you will stand by us to ensure that the developments are not reversed. I must also address an encouraging point. Our digital strategy has already been copied by NPP, but in SNPs. And the SJB's digital policy is a direct reproduction of India's stack. The encouraging point is that the other parties are trying to follow the footstep of the President's vision, and this is a good sign for the country, and I hope they will read the full act and support it when we present it to Parliament shortly. We cannot reset the clock and start all over again. To sustain this momentum, it is crucial that we go through the changes we have witnessed and maintain the political stability that has been so carefully restored. The continued leadership of President Wickremesinghe is absolutely needed for the continued progress of the industry and our country. I will not take much of your time since this forum is for you to exchange ideas with His Excellency President Wickremesinghe. In conclusion, I would like to invite all of you to recognize the importance of continuing in leadership of the President in strengthening the foundation laid during the past 2 years. Let us work together to ensure the progress we have made is not only preserved but accelerated in the coming years. Puluwan Sri Lanka, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are also extremely thankful for all the contribution that you have made to further the digital economy of Sri Lanka as the State Minister of Technology. We say thank you to the Honorable Kanaka Hera. Thank you very much. With that, we've come to the keynote address, and the keynote speech will be now delivered by the Senior Digital Development Specialist for the World Bank. Let's put our hands together and welcome on stage Mr. Siddhartha Raja.
I see I have an extra A in my last name. I think that's for AI. First of all, greetings, and it's a pleasure to be here, Excellency President, and honored senior leaders, and of course, members of the audience, including many of you that I've had the privilege of working with over the last 2 years now, and in especially drafting with a lot of your help the digital economy strategy, DigiEcon 2030, which was promulgated a few months ago, and where I think it's especially relevant to note that a lot of the work to implement that has already started. We now are on the cusp of hearing more and seeing more of the AI policy coming very soon. We talked about that a little earlier today, and I'm certainly quite excited about that because Sri Lanka will be among the first countries in the world that will have such an AI policy to direct this response and to take advantage of this emerging technology in the years ahead. So a lot of exciting times have been, it's been an honor for me to be personally involved in this conversation, and I'm looking forward to more. I think one of the very important things that I can say here is that it's also extremely encouraging to see that a lot of the work, especially what we had, the major themes in the digital economy, in the conversations around the digital economy strategy, have also started off. Let me summarize a little bit of that, just to talk about where we really see the green shoots of the technology revolution picking up. To summarize, the digital economy strategy included 6 pillars. It covered connectivity, connected government, skills and jobs, SMEs and economic transformation, the trust ecosystem, which includes cybersecurity and data protection, and financial services. So 6 areas. And in each of these, there's been some progress, some more, some less, but progress nevertheless. Very notably, of course, where we've seen recently the amendments to the Telecommunications Act being passed by Parliament and already having a very positive impact in terms of attracting investment and attention from around the world. I'm looking forward to hearing more of these changes in the years ahead, where we're seeing new business models emerging, the introduction of new technologies like 5th generation networks, increasing access to fiber optic internet all across the country in the years ahead by this new enabling policy framework. On connected government, of course, one of the areas that we at the World Bank are looking forward to continuing our work with the government is in the DPI, the Digital Public Infrastructure Agenda, and to really ensure that there's a roadmap for that, and there's an institutional framework, clear leadership to make sure that that very important agenda will be satisfied. This is something that is integral not just to ensuring that government works more efficiently, minimizing duplication of resources and ensuring greater levels of efficiency, but also to ensure that there is service delivery that is improved. Many of you are familiar with, across the region, across the world, the impact that digital ID or unique ID has had on service delivery. Also on data sharing, where having institutions of government, the public sector, the private sector working together to share data, all of these can trigger a massive transformation in the way that services are delivered. So work has begun on that, looking forward to more. Certainly on skills, jobs, SMEs, and economic transformation, we will be hearing more about that today, so I don't want to say too much about it. But already some of the efforts led by the technology ministry, led by the private sector, bringing together various partners under, for example, the DigiGo program, has already started reaching out to thousands of small businesses in the country and creating a space for them to use technology in a more meaningful way. And if we think about the impact that that can have in terms of exports, productivity, even just in terms of cost savings, efficiency for those businesses, the opportunities are significant. There are plenty of others. We are working very closely with various agencies to get the implementation of the Personal Data Protection Act in place, cybersecurity updates, so that the nation and the people, their data, the systems are secure, and there's a high level of trust in the digital economy in the days ahead. Certainly, many of you are familiar with the work that's being done on the AI strategy. I don't want to talk too much about that, but just to say that, as you also heard a few minutes ago, a lot of work that needs to be done in ensuring that data is available to allow the models to be created, to allow the services to be developed, and of course to allow innovation to take place in the country. So if I may summarize a little bit of where I see the big maybe topics and trends and some of the most important things in the days ahead, what I would hope to see is certainly a huge focus on innovation and inclusion. It's going to be extremely important to make sure that the benefits of the digital economy are available to everybody, no matter where they are, no matter who they are. And I think the starting point has already been set off from. We now have to continue on that path. There's definitely a lot to be done to make sure that broadband access is affordable, high quality access is affordable and available to everyone, that government services, digital channels, methods of payment, methods of transactions are available to everybody. And again, as I mentioned earlier, that the trust ecosystem is in place to allow people to be free and be able to use these services in a reliable way that they would be comfortable with. All of this, I think, thinking about the youth and thinking about the future is going to be critical. If you think about it, a child who started school this year is going to be looking for work in 2040. They're going to be retiring probably in 2070, 2080, 2090. That period is where they're going to have to learn how to learn. They're going to have to evolve with technology. They're going to have to evolve in a globalized environment where technology has great opportunity, but also comes with great challenges. So it's going to be extremely important to get this starting point right and to make sure that those avenues of inclusion and avenues of innovation are available to all of them and to everyone around them. And so just a few ideas, 3 priorities that I think going forward would be important to focus on. One is certainly institutional coordination, to ensure that the roles and mandates of different government bodies, agencies, the interaction with the private sector is very well defined, that there's clear division of responsibilities, but at the same time very clear leadership to make sure that this digital transformation, which is a whole of nation approach, is going to take a lot of effort, has very clear leadership, and has the institutions to back it up, to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes of the past and have a kind of a sharing-based data ecosystem and a shared set of resources to maximize efficiency and minimize duplication. So that's going to be critical. The second is to make sure that there's, as I mentioned before, inclusion in connectivity, in innovations, to make sure that artificial intelligence is available to everybody, no matter whether it's a school child or a teacher, a small business or a large corporation, to make sure that everyone has access to these technologies, and especially to really build up the digitization level of small businesses, which are the backbone of every economy and certainly for Sri Lanka. To make sure they're competitive, to make sure they're globalized, to make sure they attract the investment and, of course, generate the revenue and profit down the line. And finally, I'd like to close by saying that the most probably critical thing is going to be on skills and human capital, to ensure that the workforce of the future is ready for that future, and to ensure that businesses have not just the talent to work for them, but that they have the entrepreneurial tendencies and skills to allow innovation to percolate, whether it's processes or products, to really change the way in which the economy is functioning, and to ensure that these benefits are really distributed across the board to everybody. So with that, again, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I look forward to the days ahead and, of course, continuing to work with all of you to ensure that this vision of a digital future for Sri Lanka is fully realized. I look forward to that. Thank you again.
A grateful thanks going to Mr. Siddhartha Raja, the Senior Digital Development Specialist for the World Bank, our keynote speaker. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
When the world stood still and the future seemed uncertain, we kept moving. We competed with our past, with the ghosts of who we were and what we had built. But progress isn't forged in the shadows. The breakthroughs we make in the dark only matter when they are shared with the world. The world only moves forward when we move together. This isn't about breaking records, but about building a place where everyone belongs, no matter who they are, where they're from, or how they shine. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible and seeing what lies beyond, together. Because no matter how hard we push ourselves, we can always go further when we push each other. Alone we are small, but together we can build something that lasts. Let's code the nation's future together.
Definitely. Let's code the nation together. Yes, together we're going to do this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a very important item in the agenda. And before we talk of coding the nation together for the future, we also need to keep in mind that Sri Lanka passed a very dark period. Now it looks very, very bright, but there was a dark period that we went through, and during that dark period where Sri Lanka was in a state of anarchy, Sri Lanka was looking for someone to take on the challenge of leading the country out of the state of anarchy to normalcy. At a state where no one was willing to take on that challenge, Sri Lanka was fortunate to have a leader who took that bold step in taking that challenge and giving true leadership, and thus bringing or seeing a total transformation in Sri Lanka that we enjoy today. Because we realize that for any country to progress forward, we need political stability and economic stability. And this has been clearly established by his leadership. So we are now going to very warmly invite him on stage to address the gathering at this IT Professionals Forum. Our chief guest, the Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Let's put our hands together and welcome our chief guest on stage.
Honorable Ministers, our guest of honor, and all you distinguished ladies and gentlemen assembled here today. I, of course, have been spending the evening going from one place to another. It looks as if in different parts of the city, there are different discussions as to what should be our future. When I came here, you introduced me to pepper. I have only one question. Can pepper recognize a gas cylinder? The State Minister, amongst others, have mentioned to you the measures that we have taken in regard to technology. I will just deal with the background. When I took over the country, our GDP had come down from $89 billion to 76. You're all down. First step was how to get the economy moving, and today, within 2 years, it's at, actually by end of 2023, it was $84 billion. So we came back. What I did in that period was to focus on stabilizing the economy and getting it back to the 2019 figures. I think we are confident of achieving that in the next 2 years, though in our discussions with the IMF and the others, we gave 2027 as the break-even point. But the fact is that we worked, all of us worked, and we got the economy moving. My focus was fully on ensuring that the economy developed fast and the GDP came to a level that we required. So my total, the government's total effort was to focus on that. We needed 12 months of 83 and 5 months of 2023, 12 months of 2023 and 5 months of 2022 to get the economy moving. I didn't think we could afford the luxury of having an anarchy of local authority elections. So I stood firm and I've decided that we did not have a local authority election because we had no money. We had to spend the money on what was needed, and it has brought results. What we have to do as a country is to ensure the people can eat, people can live, and the economy moves. Just imagine what would have happened if for 6 months we diverted. Will our businesses be what it is today? Those are issues that I have to ask you. So now that we are coming to, as we take the first few successful steps in stabilizing the economy, the next is where do we go from here? We've already brought in the laws necessary to stabilize the economy, including the new Central Bank Act, the Public Debt Management Act, and the Public Finance Act. But we've also brought one for the future, the Economic Transformation Act. How do we transform ourselves into export-oriented economy? Easier said than done. To become export-oriented economy in the the second decade or the third decade or the 21st century, what we have to do. The transformation then is of technology. In this age, you cannot get ahead in the world without technology, whether you be a firm or whether you be a nation. And this is what we had to face. And I thought, and we came to an agreement, let's look at technology, embrace technology, and make that one of the fundamental pillars of our economic transformation. We identified some of the other areas which also require technology. One is basically modernizing agriculture. We have millions of acres in subsistence agriculture. Another 300,000 acres we can bring up to. We can also put into cultivation. Why don't we use that, modernize our agriculture, use the technology, and become an food exporting nation? So this is one of the measures we have. So that requires technology again. Secondly, of course, tourism. I need not tell you the role that technology plays today in tourism. Renewable energy, which we have in abundance. And also with that was the digital economy. We had two basic characteristics for the economy. One was the digitalization, other was the green economy. Both go hand in hand. So we are here and we are discussing the digital economy. How do we start? Where do we go? Government's previous policies on science and technology has focused on the government. Government driving, government having some institutes of research, which has produced very little so far, and the government trying to drive science and technology. We are just moving away from that. It will be market driven and driven by the private sector. Of the institutes we have, some will be market oriented. Some of the agriculture research institutes will go into the new agricultural technology university, but the bulk of it has to be in the private sector. So we have under our Science and Technology Act, the National Science Foundation, and we use that to support research in pure sciences. So all the government institutes need for monies for research will go through this, and then the government will have a better control of research that's been done in our own institutions. But the second one, which is basically geared to the market, is the new one that the minister described, the new council, and which will be responsible with its own fund for commercially driven research. And not only will we fund it, but we will ask for a cut on it to ensure that you all become successful, which is what many of the research funds do, just to ensure you go out there. So that is the first. Then the Digital Transformation Agency, which will drive the transformation, and finally the Center for AI. These are the three new institutions as we mentioned. But this is all to fund commercial research, to back up commercial research to be carried out by you. Government institutes, yes, as long as you are commercially oriented, we'll back that also. You're not saying no to it. So this is where you come in. How do we start from there? What will the government do? We have to first get in with the infrastructure. We have to get the laws into place. And thirdly, I feel our job is to produce the human talent. It's the human resource that are needed here more than anything. So we just have to keep churning out more and more and more in the knowledge that at least 25% will go abroad. As you pay better salaries, they will stay on here. As far as the schools are concerned, we have to look at changing the infrastructure of schools that were built for the 50s into modern schools, which will be fit for 2030s and the 2040s. That will take time, more than 10 years. So where do we start? Do we start from the bottom and go up, or do we start from the top and go down? Now that's one of the issues that we have to do. Secondly, the vocational education is being radically reorganized. All the vocational training centers, institutes will all be brought together as vocational education colleges under the Vocational Skills Agency of Sri Lanka. We'll have the University Colleges of Technology and Management, which will also give associate degrees. We'll ensure that universities, the present state universities, expand the facilities for technology. We will promote non-government universities also in that field. The government itself will ensure that 4 new universities are established. One will be Prime Minister Modi's gift to us, our campus of the Chennai IIT, which I decided should go into Galaha, and that can be upgraded later into a full university. 3 new universities of technology in Kurunegala, in Sitavaka, and in Sianak orally. So we will have 4 that the government will put in. There will also be the expansion of the Green University, addition to what we do. Rest, we hope there will be more private universities or non-government universities that will come into Sri Lanka. With this, we can keep churning out the manpower. That is where our first focus will be. Infrastructure and manpower. Whatever can be done commercially will be done commercially. We'll reduce our expenditures, and then we will fund innovation and expansion of the sector. With the digitalized economy, we also decided that we will piggyback on what India has done rather than spend our time rediscovering the wheel. It takes us a long time to rediscover the wheel. Sometimes we want to do it by ourselves, so it takes us about 10 or 15 years, and then we argue whether the wheel should be circular or whether it should be a square. So I think it's much better that we piggyback on what's available and expand. It's from there, you go ahead. It's all up for you. We want to have one large park, tech park for this. When the refinery shifted to Trincomalee, I think Sapugaskanda, which is about 400 acres, close to Colombo, would be a good place. So we are working out on the infrastructure. What can we do? That's what I want to ask you. From there onwards, we'll help you. But we need the $15 billion digital economy to start with. We are, let's say, $85 billion economy. I also think in terms of the 2040s and 2050s, but by mid-century, at least we should become a $350 billion economy. We can go more. Remember, next to us is South India, Tamil Nadu, Bangalore, Karnataka, and Telangana, Andhra. All very highly developed states as far as technology is concerned. So let's join that. Let's go up to it. Let's have the best technology. It's useless living in the past. Past is always good to talk of in the night after you have had a drink. But we must live in the present. So let's use our technology, and in different fields, I'm sure, we will come as one of the leaders, or at least a front runner. That's what we have to do. To move the economy, we have to move all of you. So we are ready to go along with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We request you to kindly remain on stage and kindly take your seat on stage, because we are moving on to a panel discussion, and together with His Excellency the President, we'll be inviting 4 people to join us on stage for the panel discussion. We'll be inviting Mr. Nishan Mendes, who's the chairman of SLASCOM, Mr. Imran Wilkasim, the executive member of BCH Chartered Institute for IT, and also Mr. Indika de Souza, chairman of FITIS, and also Mr. Heshan Karunaratna, vice president of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka. Gentlemen, we'd like to invite you on stage. Let's put our hands together and welcome the other 4 panelists on stage. The audience, just to let you know that you'll be also given the opportunity to ask related questions or express your views. But while our panelists take their seats on stage, we're going to quickly move on to short sessions by each panelist. And that is to, in fact, give their idea about their plan to boost the digital economy of Sri Lanka. And also, while ending their statements, we can ask them to route any question that they have to our chief guest as well. So firstly, I would like to focus the attention to Mr. Nishan Mendes, the chairman of SLASCOM, who would like to, we invite to open the discussion.
Sure. So on the digital economy, I think one of the key components of digital economy is exports. So if you look at the current digital economy, we estimate that to be about around $5 billion US dollars, and out of that about $2 billion roughly can be attributed to exports. So SLASCOM actually represents the export component, export sector of this industry, and how we are structured, how SLASCOM supports the digital economy is on 5 thematic areas. So one of the key focus, the important thematic areas for SLASCOM is on talent. So under talent, what we look at is we have looked at the entire education life cycle, from starting from schools up to the universities and even beyond. And we have mapped different initiatives to each of these, cohorts of the pillars. For example, for in schools, we have a program called the Tech Kids to kind of create interest of students in digital education. And then we have a platform called Future Careers Bridge for whoever who's keen to enter the IT industry. It's free of charge. Anybody can register on the platform and then, start learning. So it's a learning platform. The university system, we are working very closely with the university system, engaging with them, supporting them on the educational, the curriculum, providing feedback to them. And also we have what we call the SLASCOM Academy to educate our existing practitioners. So these are all related to the talent component. And then we also, the second thematic area is on entrepreneurship and innovation. So this is where we actually support the startups in the different, if you look at the startup life cycles, so in this life cycle, we support them in different stages of their life cycle. Then the third thematic area is on global trade and investment, where we position Sri Lanka's IT industry in overseas markets and then support the companies to access these international markets. The fourth area is on ESG. SLASCOM, these also going to be a key component of the digital economy. We want to, we have an ambition to become the first green IT BPM destination in the world. So for that effort, we are having different initiatives currently being run. The fifth, of course, is on policy. So under policy, not only for the tech industry, not only for the technology, tech industry, we have been getting involved in a lot of other areas in policy. For example, education or labor regulations. So all these, because it relates to, at the end of the day, for us, so we have been involved in that. So these are the 5 thematic areas that SLASCOM supports the digital economy, because these are key components of the digital economy.
Thank you, SLASCOM, and thank you to the chairman, Mr. Nishan Mendes. Now, may I focus to BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT, has been doing a great job of work in boosting the digital economy, and we'd like to find out how BCS would like to further contribute to boosting the digital economy, and we'd like to invite the EXCO member, Mr. Imran Wickremesinghe.
Thank you, Richard, and good evening to everyone. Pleasure to be here representing BCS as an executive committee member. Obviously, as you all know, one of our key initiatives is the National ICT Awards, which we conduct every year. Incidentally, last year was the 25th edition of the National ICT Awards in the country, which is also known as the Oscar of all awards in the country. This is where we look at recognizing, providing a platform for some of the key innovation in the technology sector in the country, where we really look at taking some of these products out there into the global markets and really rewarding that effort that people put in. In line with the whole theme around artificial intelligence and data, we've also created special categories to recognize and encourage people and companies to get into this whole space of artificial intelligence-based development. All these award winners at the ICT Awards are also going on to compete at the Asia Pacific ICT Awards. Proud and happy to say that as a result of this initiative, we've had a lot of our companies locally competing with companies regionally or in Asia and actually coming out on top with regards to world-class product innovation. Then, because of the success we've had as a result of the National ICT Awards, we also came up with what we call as the Global Business Matching Program. Essentially trying to see how is it that we can partner and enable collaboration of our local companies with overseas companies and overseas tech companies to expand work that we do in Sri Lanka in overseas markets. Again, we've seen a lot of our award winners, a lot of our award winners creating great collaboration in overseas markets and exporting some of our services from Sri Lanka to these markets. We've also played a role in terms of really introducing ICT to many parts of the country. The idea is that if we are to grow as a country, as a digital economy, we also understand that we need to have more people in the sector. Now, very recently, we were also quite encouraged by the performance of the Sri Lanka women's cricket team, who obviously, went on to win the Asia Cup. Definitely, there is a lot of opportunity for women also to be in the ICT sector. I personally believe that I think the women can also outshine and outnumber the men in the sector, and there is absolutely no reason why we can't have more of them participating in the sector. Today, the sector is roughly about 200,000 people. I think we're doing about $3 billion. We want to move into $15 billion by 2030. If you do the number, that means we need more people. And if we can just simply also increase the participation of women in the sector, I think we will do a very good job of getting there. Apart from this, we also want to catch some of these people young. So we also do a lot of programs with schools. In fact, we have a special category for schools in our ICT Award ceremony, as well as a tertiary category to actually nurture and encourage more people to actually join the sector and contribute towards this development of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Imran. And I was made to understand that you would like to focus a question to His Excellency. You may do it now.
Now that we have the opportunity of the president seated right next to me, I think one of the key things we always talk about is encouraging Sri Lanka as an investment-friendly destination. And we now talk about technology as a topic here. What is the role of the Colombo Financial Center or Port City in terms of driving this effort, at least looking at the Port City as an innovation hub? Where do you see the role of the Colombo Financial Center here in this case?
We still haven't got down to looking of putting our hands onto the Colombo Financial City. But the thinking is to convert this into the Colombo offshore financial zone. We've drafted legislation with Sherman and Sterling, which is ready as offshore center. And once that legislation is enacted, then that will be the base from which you have to operate. And that's where I think all of you come in. If you ask me now, the port city is where it is earlier. The laws and all will have to come in next year, because we'll also have to do some negotiations with the IMF. So we wanted 2 clear years to implement the law. And therefore, next year we'll find the law coming into place.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Thank you, Imran. Thank you very much. We'll quickly move to FITIS and also Computer Society of Sri Lanka, and we request the 2 industry panelists to make their comments very brief, because we're going to use more time for the audience to ask questions. So we're now moving on to the Computer Society of Sri Lanka, and represented by its Vice President, Mr. Heshan Karunaratne. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So the Computer Society of Sri Lanka is the apex body for the computer professionals in the country, which was incorporated in 1976. So we do a couple of activities to build capacity and to engage the professionals in the country. One of the key events that we conduct is the National IT Conference, which is the largest gathering of IT professionals in the country, like both from the government sector as well as from the private sector, and also from overseas, where they come together, collaborate, exchange ideas, and move forward. So then we also recently initiated the Digital Investment Summit along with the Digital Economic Strategy. And then we also engage with the building capacity with schools, where we conduct the National School Software Competition. And then we also have programs with universities. So there are a few more things that we do, but since the time is of essence, I'll just be brief, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Heshan. Thank you very much. And finally, we have the focus falling on FITIS. We have the chairman, Indika de Souza.
Thank you, Clifford. So I will also be brief. So all of you know that FITIS was founded in early 90s, which is Professor Vicky Samranayaka who led the initiative to start the FITIS. So at that time, the requirement was to popularize IT. So we have the initiative, like even President was very much instrumental in starting that in 1996, exhibitions like Infotel to be taken into the next level. Now we have come to the modern day, which is we heard about the digital economy strategy. We spoke about the digital economy strategy, and now as FITIS, we are very much aligned with the 6 pillars of the digital economy strategy as well. So I will talk little in brief. We have a program which is we are focused on the SMEs, because all of us know that 52% of our economy is focused on SMEs, or their contribution coming to the GDP. So here what we are doing is, in a simple way, we have created a playbook for these SMEs that they will convert it into digital. So already we have done 3 locations. Even we had the privilege of having His Excellency in the Pinnavala, which is he had the privilege of paying to buy a Tambili from a QR code, which is he experienced it, and we continued on that. So we have already touched upon, close upon about 10,000 SMEs on it. Additionally, we have a program which is we are measuring the digital excellence of organization. We have a digital excellence awards happening, that which continues with that. And a third point, which is we have about over 1 million families or people who are getting the Aswasuma, that is a government subsidy. So what we are doing is we are training these people in these families to bring into the workforce using technology. So like that, we have many initiatives going across. And His Excellency, I will have one request or an opinion from you as well, which is we get to, always the request is to reduce taxes. In our case, which is we say, especially in the digital era, which is the digital ecosystem, where the digital services coming in, we have a fairly unfair play field, which is the local companies has to pay the taxes, which is the revenue tax as well as the VAT. When it comes to the overseas companies, they don't have to pay the revenue taxes as also the VAT. So always what is developed in Sri Lanka, which is owned by the Sri Lankan companies, has an unfair play field. So we have elaborated this to the Ministry of Finance, which is other countries have something called a digital services tax. So in your view, which is we request your help, how to create an equal play field for our companies as well, and looking forward to your thoughts on that. So maybe something very interesting for you as well. More revenue will come for the government in this case.
Something we've also been discussing with the IMF, how we sort some of these issues out anomalies. We'll have to just wait. Because at the moment, they are interested in ensuring that we hit the benchmarks, which we have. So at least we stabilize the economy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Thank you, Indika. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have the audience, you, giving the opportunity of asking questions. We have, unfortunately, due to time constraints, we have the opportunity of giving 2 questions. So we give 2 people to ask a question each. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll bring a mic to you. Yes, there's a gentleman over there. Can you, the center table?
Thank you for the opportunity, and my question is for Mr. President. So my question is, in Sri Lankan education system, we still having problem with new chapters. I mean, so we have to re-inform and recreate our education system suitable for the new world. I mean, the technology world. So I am a 17 years old student, and I am doing my bachelor's degree in a private university. And most of my friends say me that why we can't do our AI engineering bachelor's degree in Sri Lanka? Why don't we have the facilities and don't we have the degree? So my question is, when will be the education system will change to the new world with the new technologies and the new syllabus? And also we have to go with the creativity part, not only the knowledge thing. So now we are what we are doing is we only read books and do the test, but we have to reinform our education system. When will this happen? That's my question.
We are looking at the education system for 2050. We start now. Putting education system into place is long, can take as much as 10 years, but it doesn't mean that we got to wait for 10 years for results. That's why I say we decide whether we start at the top or at the bottom. Tackle the A-level classes, tackle the tertiary, the training, the tertiary education, and look at the expansion of the universities and come down, because we have limited resources available in education. But as it goes along, and we hope there will be more non-governmental universities coming in, either locally or from outside. The changes we start from next year. But it will take you about 10 years. You've got to train your teachers, you've got to train them, and you must bring English in to the system. So all that, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait for 10 years. We will, as I say, we'll take the part of the school system, part of the tertiary education, and part of the university systems.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. One more question from the audience. Yes, sir. Oh, Prashni Pulon, single bar. Microphone, can you please take the mic to that person, gentleman? Gentleman in red tie.
මම හිතුවා සිංහල භාෂාවෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න ඕන කියලා. ඇත්තට අපි ගොඩක් තාක්ෂණය ගැන කතා කරනවා, AI ගැන කතා කරනවා. මට හිතෙනවා රජය විසින් ගොඩක් වියදම් කරනවා මේ ඡන්ද කටයුතු සඳහා. ඇයි ඔබතුමාගේ නායකත්වයේ යටතේ මේ ඡන්ද ක්‍රමය ඉලෙක්ට්‍රොනික කරන්න බැරිද කියලා මම ඒක කරන්න
ඕනේ. මම හිතන්නේ ඩෙප් අපි කොමිෂමක් දැම්මා හිටපු අග්‍රවිංශකාරතුමා ඩෙප් යටතේ ඒක කරන්න ඕන අපේ ඒක අත්හදා බලන්න. මට නම් මම නම් හිතන්නේ අපි පළමුවෙන්ම ප්‍රාදේශ සභා ඡන්දක මේ අත්හදා බලලා ඊට පස්සේ යමු ජාතික ඡන්දයකට. ස්තුතියි. One more question there, let him ask.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
That person at the back here.
Yes, the person in red tie.
Yeah. You're the one.
Red tie, yes.
Yeah.
So my question is for Mr. President. Like, what I want to know is, like you said, instead of reinventing the wheel, how can the private sector get involved with, with the state? Like more specifically, the education technology sector. How can the private sector approach, universities and, get in touch with them?
Well, we will have to see how the universities are told what we expect of them. Rest is for you all to get in touch with the universities.
So is there a central authority or like?
You can go and talk to a university. This is a commercial world. Go after business.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for the questions, and we'd like to say a big thank you once again to our chief guest, the Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, President of the Democratic Social Republic of Sri Lanka. Thank you, sir, for being present here in the midst of your very busy schedule, and also a big thank you to all our panelists. And once again, on behalf of the organizers, we'd like to say a very big thank you to His Excellency the President. Thank you very much for gracing this occasion. Well, to all our invited guests, just to let you know that We have dinner followed by cocktails, or cocktails followed by dinner, however you want to choose it. So.